Hello and welcome back. I hope you had a great Easter break. So today we're going to continue reading Dear Mr. Henshaw from Beverly Cleary, illustrator by Paul O. Zielinski. So we are picking up on January 12th. Dear Mr. Henshaw, this is a real letter that I'm going to mail. Maybe I had better explain that I have written you many letters that are really my diary, which I keep because you said so, and because Mom still won't have the TV repaired. She wants my brain to stay in good shape. She says I will need my brain all my life. Guess what? Today, the school librarian stopped me in the hall and said she had something for me. She told me to come to the library. Then she handed me your new book and said that I could be the first one to read it. I must have looked surprised. She said she knew how much I love your books since I check them out so often. Now I know Mr. Fridley isn't the only one who notices me. I am on page 14 of Beggar Bears. It is a good book. I just wanted you to know that I am the first person around here to get to read it. Your #1 fan, Lee Botts. Dear Mr. Henshaw, this is January 15th. I finished Beggar Bears in 2 nights. It is a really good book. At first, I was surprised because it wasn't funny like your other books. But then I got to thinking, you said authors should think. And decided a book doesn't have to be funny to be good. Although it does often help. This book did not need to be funny. In the first chapter, I thought it was going to be funny. I guess I expected it because of your other books and because the mother bear was teaching her twin cubs to beg from the tourists in Yellowstone Park. Then when the mother died because of a stupid tourist fed her a cupcake in a plastic bag and she ate the bag too, I knew this was going to be a sad book. Winter was coming on. Tourists were leaving the park and the little bears didn't know how to find food for themselves. When they hibernated and then woke up in the middle of winter because they had eaten all the wrong things and hadn't stored up enough fat, I almost cried. I sure was relieved when the nice ranger and his boy found the young bears and fed them, and then the next summer taught them to hunt for the right things to eat. I wonder what happens to the fathers of bears. Do they just go away? Sometimes I lie awake listening to the gas station pinging, and I worry because something might happen to Mom. So is so little compared to most moms. She is so little compared to most moms, and she works so hard. I don't think Dad is that much interested in me. He didn't phone when he said he would. I hope your book wins 1,000,000 awards. Sincerely, Lee Botts. January 19th. Dear Mr. Henshaw, thank you for sending me the postcard with the picture of the lake and mountains and all that snow. Yes, I will continue to write in my diary, even if I do have to pretend I'm writing to you. You know something? I think I feel better when I write in my diary. My teacher says my writing skills are actually improving. Maybe I really will be a famous author someday. She said our school, along with some other schools, is going to print, that means mimeograph, a book of work of young authors, and I should write a story for it. The writers of the best work will win a prize. Lunch with a famous author, and with winners from other schools. I hope the famous author is you. I don't often get mail, but today I received 2 postcards. One from you and one from Dad, who's in Kansas. His card showed a picture of a grain elevator. He said he would phone me sometime next week. I wish someday he would have to drive a load of something to Wyoming and would take me along so I could actually meet you. That's all for now. I'm going to try to think up a story. Don't worry. I won't send it to you to read. I know you were busy and I don't want to be a nuisance. Your good friend, Lee Botts the First. Saturday, January 20th. Dear Mr. Pretend Henshaw, every time I try to think up a story, it turns out to be like something someone else has written, usually you. I want to do what you said in your tips and write like me, not like somebody else. I'll keep trying because I want to be a young author with my story printed. Maybe I can't think of a story because I'm waiting for Dad to call. I get so lonesome when I am alone at night when Mom is at her nursing class. Yesterday, somebody stole a piece of wedding cake from my lunch bag. It was the kind Catering by Katie packs in little white boxes for people to take home from weddings. Mr. Fridley noticed me scowling again and said, "So the lunch bag thief strikes again." I said, "Yeah, and my dad didn't phone me." He said, "Don't think you're the only boy around here with a father who forgets." I wonder if this is true. Mr. Fridley keeps an eye on just about everything around school, so he probably knows. I wish I had a grandfather like Mr. Fridley. He is so nice, sort of baggy and comfortable. Monday, January 29th. Dear Mr. Pretend Henshaw, Dad still hasn't phoned, and he promised he would. Mom keeps telling me I shouldn't get my hopes up because Dad sometimes forgets. I don't think he should forget what he wrote on a postcard. I feel terrible. Tuesday, January 30th. Dear Mr. Pretend Henshaw, I looked in my book of highway maps and figured out that Dad should be back in Bakersfield by now, but he still hasn't phoned. Mom says I shouldn't be too hard on him because a trucker's life isn't easy. Truckers sometimes lose some of their hearing in their left ear from the wind rushing past the driver's window. She says truckers get out of shape from sitting such long hours without exercise and from eating too much greasy food. Sometimes they get ulcers from the strain of trying to make good time on the highway. Time is money for a trucker. I think she is just trying to make me feel good, but I don't. I feel rotten. I said, if a trucker's life is so hard, how come Dad is in love with his truck? Mom said it's not really his truck he's in love with. He loves the feel of power when he's sitting high in his cab, controlling a mighty machine. He loves the excitement of never knowing where his next trip will take him. He loves the mountains and the desert sunrises and the sight of orange trees heavy with oranges and the smell of fresh mown alfalfa. I know, because I rode with him until you came along. I still feel terrible. If Dad loves all those things so much, why can't he love me? And maybe if I hadn't been born, Mom might still be riding with Dad. Maybe I'm the one to blame for everything. Wednesday, January 31st. Dear Mr. Pretend Henshaw, Dad still hasn't phoned. A promise is a promise, especially when it's in writing. When the phone does ring, it is always a call from the one woman Mom works with. I am filled with wrath. I got that out of a book, but not one of yours. I am mad at Mom for divorcing Dad. As she says, it takes two people to get a divorce, so I am mad at two people. I wish Bandit was here to keep me company. Bandit and I didn't get a divorce. They did. Thursday, February 1st. Dear Mr. Pretend Henshaw, today there was bad news in the paper. The sugar refinery is going to shut down. Even though Dad hauls cross country now, I keep hoping sometime he might haul a really big load of sugar beets to Spreckles. Now, maybe I'll never see him again. So we're going to stop our reading there for today, but I do have some questions for you. So the questions that we have today, there's 4. The first question that I have for you is, what does the librarian do for Lee? And how do you think that makes Lee feel? Question number 2, what does the word wrath mean? If you are in homeroom 4.1 and 4.2, this is one of our intense vocab words, so you should be very familiar with this word, wrath. Number 3, why does Lee keep saying, I don't want to be a nuisance? He keeps repeating that through the book to Mr. Henshaw. Why does he keep repeating that? And number 4, what do you think the quote, time is money, means? Lee was saying that in reference to his dad. Time is money. What do you think that means? You can answer these questions on a piece of paper. You can send them to me through the Remind app or Mrs. Klein through Class Tag. Be ready for our discussion on this tomorrow. Have a great day.